just like basically giving the people something to like get their hope in, like to believe in. Like this whole conversation on, you know, I'm not even gonna get into that. The whole conversation on Buddha, because I really want to say God, but Buddha. Yeah, I guess you could say like the Bible in general.
Get away
like,
from the door.
I guess you could say controversial things happen in the Bible versus like how many things will actually happen in reality, and then like what we look at in type of like morality in society today versus what the morality is in the Bible. How some people actually say they follow the Bible, when in truth, kind of like the Bible also has its problem of its own. I'm just talking about the Old Testament. The Old. No comment.
So, you said that it's important. You was gonna say something about the myth,
about the Bible, like how they got stories and stuff, and people follow like Noah's Ark. Well, some of it's not stories. Some of it's originated other places, but it's still stories handed down from a long time ago that still get here. Or your rap could be a myth or something because it's handed down. You're just rapping on the beat and you just hand it down. Then how many times you want to hear it? So
right?
It has influence.
But now, back to the original question. How important are stories, myths, and legends to people? Because I want y'all to see something. I really need y'all to understand something. How important? Have you ever thought about it?
I have.
Let me ask you a question. How do you know about your life? Do anybody know how you know about your life? If I was to ask you to tell me about your life, what would you end up having to tell me?
That my mom told me that I was born June 30th, 1998 with a lot
What is
of
that?
issues.
What is that?
My mom told me.
What is it? It's a story. Look, think about this. Your whole life, for all we know, because check this out, your whole life is basically one big memory. One big memory, and the only way you can communicate that memory is by telling a story. How do a people know where they come from if they don't have stories? How do a people know who they are if they don't have stories? How do a people survive if they don't have stories that they pass on?
They don't.
They don't. They don't. When I want to destroy you, I destroy your story. Or any recollection of your story.
Your records.
Think about slavery. What was one of the first things that they totally disrupted and destroyed?
Took out the ancestors aspect in the stories, like their ancestor stories.
Took away your names, which connects you to what?
Your stories.
And your place where you was born and your stories of your people.
I feel like naming my daughter Zimbabwe.
See, when a people have stories, when we tell our stories, when people have stories, what that does is that puts out a certain energy in the universe, which allows you to continue to exist. Now, if I want to get rid of your existence, I come in and I erase your story. Now, the basis of a majority of the myths, the legends, the fables you hear are heroes, right? What's a hero? Go ahead. You was about to say something. What's a hero?
Somebody to save somebody.
Somebody to save somebody. What else? What else is a hero?
Motivation. Somebody gives somebody motivation.
Somebody gives, huh?
Spider-Man.
A leader. She said somebody get motivation. You said a what?
Spider-Man.
Okay. All right. Somebody with superpowers.
Somebody that's not a villain.
Somebody that's not a villain.
But then I actually have to look at what is a villain, because sometimes these villains actually have like their own purpose in life, and they could, in a really, really big picture, not actually be the villains at all.
It's somebody that somebody look up to.
Somebody that somebody look up to.
Well, people, everybody.
Now, how important are these to people? Hey, stop hanging on those.
He's gay.
Gina, don't make me come back out here. Find a place to sit down. How important are heroes to people? To a people?
They inspire them to uplift.
Cops, firefighters, and all them heroes.
Actually, cops are not heroes.
They call them.
Depending on what angle you're looking at the cop can be like you just broke it down. You said those villains in stories made on a larger scale end up being heroes. Like, for example, one of the most interesting paradigms I have ever seen is the relationship between Superman and Lex Luthor.
Really?
Now, in one of the stories, And one of the stories, the way they tell some of it, Lex Luthor hates Superman because Superman, in a sense, he feels Superman makes fun of human beings by pretending to be a weak mortal. Because this is the way Superman sees us. Now, check this out. Wait, hold on. Lex Luthor believes that it's necessary for him to do what he do so that he could keep Superman in line. That's just on a comic book level. Let's go to a God realm. Or let's go to a myth. Let's go to a fable. Now, I want y'all to understand this. I got a question for you. We're talking about myths and fables. What is the most important myth or fable that you'll ever run into?
Zeus and his Olympian gods and goddesses. Nothing to be particular.
Yeah,
For no particular reason.
I wouldn't agree with that, but for some people it could be. Anybody else? Somebody else? Come on now. We got all these thinkers in. What's the most important myth or story or legend in the world? What is the most important one?
Yeah, Mr. Wings, man. Yeah, I saw that.
You said the Big Bang. Okay, but I disagree. But go ahead. The most important story.
The right religion?
Which one? Which one?
Oh, that's the biggest story.
Daddy,
Which one's the right one?
Is there a right one?
Go ahead.
That's a myth. We don't know which one's the right one.
See now,
I'm asking
wait, hold on, time out. Cole, you going deep on me, dog. You know we on the radio, so you want me to identify who you are, because that's profound. Because we talking about myths and legends. You said the right religion. Now a lot of people, if you say, hey, religion is a myth, they gonna be mad at you. You see what I'm saying? But this is what's crazy. You can be talking to a Christian will tell you that their faith is real, but they'll turn around and say Islam is not. It's a myth. It's a fable. But you do the same thing in Islam. You tell them that there is a myth, they'll cut your head off. But everybody else is myth. So it all depends on how you look at it. But so you saying a religion, but you don't know which one. How about you? What's the most important myth? What's the most important story? What's the most important fable you have ever? I mean, that's to you. What's the most important? You still thinking about it?
Oh, wait,
Go ahead, hold on. Let me get everybody. How about you? Most important. How about for you?
I'm still thinking too.
How about you?
To me, ancient Kemet, other known as Egypt, it's the standard of what is a black civilization.
And I can say I disagree. I'm gonna say this too. Go ahead.
Alright, I changed my answer because I realized that they're not all that great. They done some stuff.
Okay.
The most important story or fable or anything to me is my own story. Why? Wait. Why?
I told you this before. We did this. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
go
I
ahead.
didn't.
Go ahead.
No, the reason why it's my own story is because who better to understand my own story than me? I mean, I already went through the story. I know what's true and what's not true. And at the same time, if I was to tell it to somebody else, what's the point? I mean, it's my story. As in, like, my name is Cyclops.
Okay.
Cyclops. My name is Cyclops. And I'm going to... And if my name is Cyclops, I'm going to tell Cyclops' story. Because I'm Cyclops.
You can't tell it better than Cyclops.
The most important story that you ever run across is yours. The most important myth you ever run across is yours. We spend a lot of time looking at all these other myths. We spend a lot of times arguing about these other people's stories, but we spend very little time even contemplating the story of our lives. And have you ever noticed how perfectly your life aligns with the things that you want? You think it's strange now. I want you to start noticing how things line up almost perfectly. Like, have you ever woke up on a day and you see me talking? Have you ever woke up on a day? Oh God. Have you ever woke up and received a call or somebody stopped by and the day just went like everything was planned? You didn't plan it, but everything fell in line, right on time.
What we call a good day?
Or you call it a good day. You call luck. You call whatever. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because every culture has a story. And in those stories, you have the heroes. Now, I'm gonna ask another question, and then we're gonna get into what I really want us to focus on. When we're reading a fable, when we're reading a myth, when we're reading a tale, who are they talking about in that story?
Usually the main character.
Okay, who is the main character? And who does it represent?
It usually, well, depending on like the name of the title, like Hercules or Superman, they can usually be talking about them. Or even that limited series of Miss Marvel.
Okay, but go deeper. Who does it represent? Who does Superman represent?
Right, Superman is actually like supposed to, according to like his own words, Superman is actually like supposed to be the potential that humanity could be if they like working together.
All right. So let's say we're reading a Greek myth. Who is the Greek hero supposed to represent?
Who, Perseus?
Huh? You can say Perseus, you can say anybody. I'm just trying to why did nobody took this from you?
That's all I was trying to.
Oh, thank you. Who does the hero represent?
Just depending on how you look at it.
Okay. So how? Okay,
I mean,
give me an example.
Is it a warrior?
Like,
Huh?
You can read some stories and be like, oh yeah, they talking to me. Like you feel it, like the words that is coming out the book. Like, oh yeah, that's for me. That's my life. I see it going in that same way. Or you might look at it like, I don't know who they talking about. What are they talking about? So it depends on how you look at it.
All right. Because I'm gonna give you this challenge. When you're reading a story or you watching a movie and you see the hero, I want you to be arrogant enough to think that possibly this is your story. They are sending a message to you. Have you ever watched a movie or seen it and you click in with one or some of the characters in the movie?
Avatar.
You click in with that movie. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever read a story and been like, hey, even if it's an old story, it says something to you. Now, a lot of these stories follow a basic logic and a basic line of thought. And I'm going to work y'all through that in the next couple of weeks. But today what I want to introduce you to is the hero that we have in Giame. Because one of the things that I was challenged to do when I came up with Giame was I believe that we needed new stories. I'm one of those that it's kind of problematic for me to kind of base my life on stories that's 5,000 years old, regardless of where they come from. We're living in a different place in a different time. And I honestly believe that we need to be bold enough to create the new stories. Because the stories that we write may be the scripture for somebody in the future. Go ahead.
I just gotta say this right now. I'm actually starting to get this little perception thing. I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm starting to think that all these superheroes that are put up are actually the super villains. As I'm really thinking about it, because when I'm looking at super villains, before, it just used to be about domination. Now it's more about something needs to change because you got all these superheroes running around and all that other stuff. If you have too much of one thing, you start getting arrogant with it because you have too much of one thing. It's plenty of it. So, I guess I'm actually starting to look at the super villains more as heroes than, I guess you could say, villains, just simply because of the fact that while heroes are more focused on keeping everything the same, villains seem to actually want to change, a change.
Now, all right, cool. We're gonna take that segue because I want you to think about this. Me and you was watching the same cartoon, right? And they had a league of the League of Light? Light.
It was
called the Light, right?
Just the Light.
What's their goal?
I guess it is world domination.
What was their goal? No, their goal was to force humans to evolve. I mean, really, when you think about it. That was their goal. They wanted human beings to evolve, and they felt people like Superman and the Flash was stopping people from having to evolve. We had to learn how to take care of ourselves, right? Not saying that that's good or bad, but I feel what you're saying. Now,
petty criminals and stuff like that could be taken out, and even murder. But when you actually on a scale of an alien invasion or a so-called alien invasion, and afterwards we have these so-called superheroes of righteousness and everything like that, telling them that it is an alien invasion when in fact
quick. I want to read as much as we can before we run out of time. I want to introduce you to this character called G. But also, I'm going to challenge you over the next couple of weeks while you're watching TV, because we talk about myths. I'm talking to you about myths and stuff because we got to start off like that. Or at least start this segment off like that. But I want y'all to really see how important myths are, because we base our whole life on myths and stories. From TV to radio, everybody is pushing a story on you. The news is all about putting stories together. I mean, can y'all see that?
Yep.
It's all about putting the stories together. And I want you, and it was something key that really was revealed to me when they killed Osama bin Laden. Yo, do y'all remember when they called Osama bin Laden?
Mm-hmm.
Do anybody know what they wanted to kill with Osama bin Laden? What was the most important thing they wanted to kill?
His story.
His story. But they didn't call it story. They call it narrative. When you listen to them talking in military terms, they're talking about destroying the narrative or controlling the narrative. That's the story. And also, I also want y'all to understand this, because now we are getting to a point with y'all where y'all are going to become authors. I need the end part of this process is for you to become an author. Why do I want you to become an author?
Because it's our story and we finally need to take control of it.
Excellent. But I want you to look at that word, author. What's an author?
Oh, wait.
What is author short for?
Authorization?
Huh?
The person who make the stories.
The person that make the stories. But if you, now think of some words that have the word author in it. Authority. When you become an author, you become the authority. Who can tell your story better than you? Who can control the narrative better than the person that wrote the book? We are living in somebody else's story right now, y'all. That's why we're not winning.
His story.
His story. All right? Now we need to make it our story. So I'm training y'all to start learning how to think so that you can see all these stories that Black Dot call it the Matrix. But it is a series of stories that are linked together that guide how we live our lives. And we tell ourselves these stories over and over again. Some of y'all have received so many blessings in your life, but because somebody else is telling you how your story should be, you walking right past them. You stepping on them. You spitting in their face.
Sorry, Willie.
All right? Or the Avengers, or any tale that has heroes and villains, read in there for the message that is designed for you. Alright? And I want you to understand this too. For those that don't understand, the stories are layered. Do anybody know what I mean when I say stories are layered?
Yeah.
What?
It basically means that behind one story, there's always another story.
There you go. It's layered. So, has anybody, some of y'all might experience this. Have you read a story when you was younger? Then you came back and you read it again. And you picked up something totally different?
I feel that way with Disney movies all the time.
They're layered. Excellent stories that really speak to you are layered. And they give you lessons at the level that you're ready to receive them at. Like I give everybody here a proverb. Everybody will get something else from that proverb. But then when you start having some experiences in life and you go back and you review that proverb or that story, you pick up a different lesson. Be like, damn, I didn't think. Matter of fact, some of y'all probably watched movies and that happened to you before. You done watched the movie so many times, then all of a sudden say, I never thought about it like that. Go ahead.
This did not actually come to my attention until I was like 14. But I noticed that, like, and yes, I'm bringing this up, Rodney. I noticed that, like, in Avatar: The Last Airbender season 3, like, when Zuko kept on visiting his uncle in prison, like, usually, like, the camera would, like, just pan to Zuko, like, behind the bars, and, like, his uncle, like, with the light shining on him, and, like, without any bars or whatever, like, whenever it was, like, one of those little close-ups. And to me, that kind of, like, symbolizes how, like, Zuko's actually, like, really the one in prison, like, in terms of, like, his emotions and his feelings and his morals and stuff like that.
That
and
was
his uncle's, like, the enlightenment.
That was dope. I like that.
So you like
go ahead.
So what you saying, like, alright, say I watch this movie
Mm-hmm.
I was younger, but when I watched it older, it was something that I noticed about it. Like, okay, Prince of Egypt, I just watched it at
Right.
my aunt's house.
Okay.
Like, and I started really like seeing like why the oldest died and all this and that. You remember when they had to put the blood on the,
Right.
the doors and
Right.
stuff like that? It like took me to understand like why like there was sacrifices and all this and that for the ones that wasn't doing right. Like he was trying to free his people the whole time.
Right.
When he found out he was a slave.
Mm. Go ahead.
My movie is Matrix, and I used to watch. I look at it because they was fighting. And
Right,
shit.
right.
I'm like, oh, that's deep. When
Right.
you look at it, you like sit back again years later, you're like, oh, that's deeper than you.
It's layered, right?
Yeah.
It's layered. Go ahead.
My movie is Karakou, because even though that's a movie for children, there are so many lessons upon lessons in that cartoon.
Now, this is something else I want to stress. We're living somebody else's story, y'all. So you need to understand the way we used to teach. We used to teach with stories. So when we say a story like Karakou is for kids, it's not really for kids. Aesop Fables, I want you to understand this. Aesop Fables, before we reached these modern, Aesop Fables was a college. That was advanced education. Understanding the fables and understanding the lessons in the fables, that was advanced education. You understand what I'm saying? There's all this other stuff that we doing. That's some new stuff. Storytelling has always been the way we taught. Because think about it. What's more interesting than the story? Hell, it's the biggest business. Most people don't even know it. Who make more money than stories? Name one industry that make more money than stories.
Music.
No. Well, actually,
biggest,
isn't that telling the story?
the biggest,
Even though if the stories are trifling right now? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Nah, the biggest, who makes most money right now, even more than Hollywood, is video games, and every one of those is a story.
Every last one of those is a story. Video game. Look at how the story. Look at how your life is being guided and directed. There's no longer force. And they never really had the forces. All they got to do is control the narrative. But go ahead.
So far, this decade has been broken up into the ratchet era, the terrorism era, the marijuana era, the homophobic era, the cartoon era, and that movie, and the superhero movie era. As like you said.
Dance.
Oh, and the dance era. That I don't know what people were doing that day.
Super.
But like now it's like more of like the superhero comic book movie adaptations to like kind of like just put into the era. And as I'm seeing it again, I'm also seeing like these black movies just like starting to pop up again. Like, is there something that you like trying to coincide with us?
Like New Jack City, like when it's on BT. Like old
I don't have cable, sir.
Okay.
You get the idea.
No.
All right. So this is called Trials of G. So let's go and try to read as much of this as we can until y'all pass out or something.
We got
Because it's a long story.
We got 5 minutes. All right, let's do this.
All right. You read this already?
Yeah,
Okay. Who want to start? Go ahead.
I'll do it.
Go ahead.
Long ago, I'm kidding. Long ago, before time was counted and broken down into small units designed to heat up our lives, there existed a proud people that dwelled in what we call the East. They existed in peace and harmony from the beginning. These people called themselves Black, named themselves after the color of the earth from which they came. These people were many but divided into different tribes, each one being led by their own chief. There was never a need for all the people to come together because there was plenty of resources for them to exist in harmony. In one of the tribes lived a young man by the name of Guy. G. G was the eldest son of a chief named Knive. Oh yeah, you already know where this story is going. Who was in line to rule his tribe. G had a younger brother named Sin, who was very jealous of G's position. G just happened to be the chief Knive's favorite. Together, they often schemed to make G look bad before the people and throw him into disfavor.
Sin was in constant competition with G, and we're gonna do a paragraph apiece. Sin was in constant competition with G and won most of the time. G was not much of a competitor and did not need outward victories to feel good. Sin felt he should be the next in line to rule his father's tribe and cried to his father constantly about the fact. Chief Kenai was getting up in age and knew that very soon he would have to pass on his chieftaincy. He loved sin, but he tolerated G. These two young men had different mothers. Whenever G asked about his mother, the only response that he would get was that she left to get away from her responsibility. Sin's mother still was around, and she wanted her son to become the next chief. So she constantly stayed in Chief Kenai's ear about her son moving into power. The major problem with Sin becoming the next chief was that that tradition demanded that the first son must receive the mantle of chief upon his father's retirement.
The time was coming for Chief Kenai to move into co-rulership role with his heir so that he could train him in the ways of being chief. Sin's mother would not have her son looked over G, so she let her son know that he needed to take action quick if he ever wanted to fulfill his destiny. Sin came up with the idea, sought counsel from his father. His father gave him the go-ahead and resources to get it done. He would hire 5 bandits to kill G on his morning walk.
As he usually did, G woke early in the morning to commune with the Creator and his higher self. G was very dedicated to developing himself through his relationship with the Creator. In his prayer, he asked to see a phoenix and to be able to have the courage to capture a feather. For it was said that any man who could get close enough to a phoenix to pluck a feather would be forever transformed. Just having the feather of a phoenix opens destiny's doors to you, and all of your visions will become reality.
G left his compound at his regular time, walking towards the forest, not knowing that lurking in the woods were the bandits that would take his life. As soon as G got out of sight of his village, they sprung upon him, beating him senseless. Right before the final blow, one of the bandits raised his voice to stop all activities.
We have beat him severely, and he may not survive, but there's no use in killing him when we can sell him into slavery and make more money. Brother, we were paid by Chief and Sin to eliminate him. Selling him into slavery is elimination. He will be taken far away from here, never to be seen again, and we will be all the richer. We will just bring back his bloody clothes to prove he is dead and take a vow here and now that we will never discuss the truth of G to anyone, including each other. Good idea, let's do it, another bandit said.
So these 5 bandits made their oath over G's body, not knowing that he was partly conscious. He had heard that his own family had betrayed him and that he would never see his village again. 3 of the bandits stripped G and carried him toward the west to be sold. Then the other bandits, 2 bandits, took the clothes to his brother Sin to collect their money.
When they finally made it to the market, they sold G and left him with a slave driver who had to give G time to heal for the grueling march ahead. The slave driver needed to wait for more captives to come anyway to make the trip profitable.
G rested and healed for 5 days, and the march began. All the slaves were shackled together by their ankles and wrists. The whole group had to walk as one or be injured by the chain. The march lasted 33 days. Many people died during the process, for the trip was very arduous. On the 33rd day, the slave traders were ambushed by a group of skilled warriors. They moved so fast that they could barely be seen. They slayed all but one slave driver and let him live to pass on the message that no slave driving would be permitted in or through their lands. These words set all the captives free, and everyone ran for their lives, terrified by G. These words looked more like ghosts and monsters rather than men. They showed absolutely no mercy on the battlefield. G realized that the warriors had on costumes to scare their enemies.
G overcame his fear and begged the men to take him with them and train him in their ways. At first they laughed at him and said he would not last a week. Then he explained his circumstances. He could not return home, for it was his father and brother that tried to kill him. The elders in the group took pity on him after hearing his tale and took him back to the Council of Wisdom to decide his fate. G stood before the Council of Wisdom of the Yami people. They listened to his tale of woe and deceit and told him that he was welcome to stay amongst the Yami. G then asked if he could become a warrior. The council warned him that if he chose to be a warrior, that it would be a very difficult road. they also had to consider his age as well. The Yami warriors began their training very young, and G was already a grown man. G acknowledged that he was willing to take any hardship that came his way, and that he wanted to be a productive member of society. The council first told him that some years ago they had saved a woman from his tribe in the east. They felt that he should meet her. Then they would begin the process to see if he was worthy of becoming a warrior in their culture.
The woman was summoned, and when she came forward, a look of recognition came over her face. First she asked G his name. When he told her, she stepped back. Then she asked his father's name. G told her. She looked at him and asked about his mother. G told him that she ran away and left him when he was very young, and his father never spoke of her. Oh, really? Okay. She revealed to him that she was his mother, and that his father had sold her into slavery because she caught him with another woman. She threatened to take the information up to the council of the elders. This will not only be embarrassing, but it will also cost him the trust of his people, because she was loved in the village and the surrounding territories. To prevent this, he had her sold into slavery and made it look like she ran away. She was rescued by Naomi, who adopted her as one of her own. She then told G her story of deceit and betrayal by his father and his brother. Then G told her his story about deceit and betrayal by his father and his brother. She started to cry, and he confronted her. She told him to learn as much as possible from Naomi, because they were advanced in all sciences, including war. They only chose to live secluded from the rest of the world to keep their sciences, culture, and spiritual technology, using the X, from being
Ashe. That's Ashe. That's another way to spell Ashe.
Use of Ashe, from being bastardized and used to knock what they call Ujima out of balance.
After spending a few days with his mother, G reappeared before the council to receive his test. Following tradition, the test was on 3 levels, with the first level being spiritual. At this level, G was asked to share his principles of living with the council by way of teaching, and then to answer the questions of the council. Then he was put in a room in front of a table and asked to visualize everything on the table after one glance. The next test was mental. He had to solve 2 riddles. What exists in the shell but cannot be touched, but touches all things, and cannot be seen but can see all? And what animal flies towards the sun to die but yet lives forever? The last test was to see his physical coordination. He was put in the ring and asked to simulate a battle between himself and an opponent.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead.
Alright, number 1 would probably be your organs, or like whatever's on the inside, because it like kind of exists in the shell, and I guess you could say your skin is your shell, and your organs can never really be touched, but it touches all things. So if it's touching all over my skin, obviously, or my muscles even, like, it's inside of a shell, but it can still touch the thing.
So you saying your organs is filling on you? This is messing with you. But that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I didn't put the answer in here, did I?
No.
Okay. All right.
And number 2, what animal flies towards the sun to die but yet lives forever? A bird.
What kind of bird?
A phoenix.
Okay. All right. I ain't saying with you, brother.
500 years, it sets itself on fire, and then it's reborn.
Hey.
On all the tests, G did poorly but never gave up. The council was impressed by his ability to hang in there and try repeatedly. He never got upset at ridicule or laughter and never became disheartened. He was accepted into the community as a warrior in training. Many years passed along with many trials for G. It took 10 years of training for him to become a warrior and another 5 years to be accepted as a nation builder. The Inyame taught G how to first build himself, family, community, on up to his nation. Step by step they led him. He learned their spiritual technology, learned critical thinking, and the sacred warrior dance, martial arts. He became a strong and principled man. When he completed the training, he surpassed his entire class. The Inyame usually start training their warriors at the age of 5, but they made an exception for G. He was determined to make it through. During the process, he learned many secrets about the human being and all the life surrounding him. He pledged to hold his new knowledge sacred and to use it in a just causes.
All right, y'all want to start?
Can we like finish this page just to make sure?
All right. G reunited with his mother as much as possible. He let her find. Is that the right one?
No, G overcame his fear.
Okay, go ahead, finish.
No, it's G reunited.
Yeah, it's G reunited.
G reunited with his mother as much as possible. He later found out that it was because of her he was accepted into the warrior training. She was such an honorable woman that her request was always respected. She also taught him many things about the world around him. She set him down in his 16th year as a yame and told him that she was glad that he had chose the warrior training. She wanted him to know that she was proud of him, but now it was time for him to return back to his home. G was shocked, but something in him knew that she was right. She felt that it was time for him to claim his village and become a great chief. She also told him that with his newfound knowledge he could unite all their people. G swore to her he would do this. So we can stop here.
What was the answer to question 1?
Oh, okay. The answer to question 1.
He said organs was close, but it's actually the mind.
I thought it was like the muscles.
You said eyeball. Yeah. That was good. I mean, because it is in the shit. I mean, the organ, that would be acceptable too. And of course, the second one is the finger.
That's just basically like me looking at you and just being like this, touching you. How do you feel?
You say what?
It's just basically me. It's basically like nasty, just me looking at somebody, just being like this. I'm touching you. How do you feel?
That's creepy. All right. So we'll pick up with this. Well, actually, y'all can finish reading the story, and we'll talk a little bit more about stories, and then I'm gonna give y'all a challenge for our stories. Huh? Make your own story. You tell me your story, or you gonna write your own mess.
Or your words.
All right.
I got the book.
I mean, your vocal cords.
All right, big time. I'm sorry.
Whatever you say, but like take it to heart.
Yeah, y'all can have those. So let's straighten this room up and then go eat.
Ain't nobody hungry.
This is what I said earlier. Yeah, alright. Okay, so look. Here's how this goes. I tell you to look at a bird in the sky. You look at the bird in the sky. You look back over here. No. That's how you gave them their past years. They think that was pretty well. That was not
I just started.
Talking about this?
That's what's up.
Yes.
Like, you know, Quest Love is?